4th down and goal from the 9. Carr throws into traffic. Intercepted. The Bengals have the ball. They are running it back. Sam Hubbard.
Stanford Jennings is going to go all the way. And when it comes down, the Bengals are champions.
Now the Bengals Super Bowl chances rest on his right foot. The kick is up. It is good.
Today, Bengal fans, here we gather, talking football back for year 5. We're covering all things Houday Nation. We're glad you joined us here tonight. Special guests, past and present players. You never know who you might see. One thing that's for sure, it's all things Bengals. And it all goes back to charity. We at Talking Football want to thank you for joining us for the show tonight. By the fans, for the fans, until the very end. It's Talking Football with Bengal Jim and friends. It's Talking Football with Bengal Jim and friends.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to, I think, the 206th edition of Talking Football with Bengal Jim and friends. Joe Walter is hoping to come on here in the next 5 or 10 minutes with us, former Bengal great. We've got a lot of stuff to hit on here tonight. But, guys, a bye week. It felt good to kind of chill, not have to stress over a last-minute loss this week. So, but it does. I'm glad we're getting back to some football here at Paycor Stadium this week, guys.
Bye week. It was a nice weekend off. Hopefully everybody got their honeydews done and got their stuff cleaned up around home, got their winter gear out. It's going to be a little cold in the jungle on Sunday, but not a lot fell our way this week. And looking at the wild card and things like that, other than the Colts losing, but look forward to seeing everybody Sunday at Paycor. And as always, everyone online, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Indiana, and wherever else joining us tonight.
We got to go to Portsmouth, Ohio, being represented again, James.
Brandon is there. I like this new graphic too because it has a little picture. We can see Brandon in his retro Jeff Blake jersey. So here's Lisa. Look at Lisa's pretty little.
James, she's probably 4 glasses of wine in right now on Tuesday night. You know that.
I didn't say that. Tom, good evening.
Good evening, gentlemen. So, like you said, a little bit of optimism. Didn't fall back, and nothing else matters unless we win. So let's just win and let everything else be what it will, and we'll start looking at everybody else. If we just win, we'll start looking at everybody else when we play the Browns. How's that?
Yep, I love it.
Is it true, Tom, that Jamie's boycotting the show because the Looney has tanked on potential tariff talks?
I don't think he's necessarily boycotting the show. He sent me a message. He was on with his financial advisor, but so I'm sure when he gets done with his financial advisor, we'll see him. So yeah, I'm not worried about him. He's good. He's good. Our Canadian brother is good.
Hey, when he's not here, we can talk about him all day. Even when he's here, we talk about him. So we're having fun with it.
Yeah, Mark's in trouble. He had apparently a big honeydew list this past weekend. Didn't get it done. He better if he wants to get to Paycor on Sunday. So get it done.
We got some breaking news, guys. Today, the Bengals sent out the email. Really cool situation here. Leaping Lamar Parrish, Tom, is going to be ruler of the jungle this week, and this is somebody we've been fighting for many years. For not just the Ring of Honor, but the Hall of Fame. But this is going to be a fun fight. I just texted Leaping Lamar here today when I found out, and his words are just simply with a football image and saying, "I'm excited." That's all he said.
Well, I bet he is. He was excited. It was exciting watching him. He was the most exciting Bengal of those first 5-6 seasons. He was Deion Sanders before the NFL had heard of Deion Sanders in coverage. Return a kick, return a punt. He can electrify a stadium, block kicks. So it's certainly just due that he's going to be ruler of the jungle. And I can say, overdue. He's not on the Ring of Honor.
Yep. It's got to happen here soon. Let's hit a couple things here before Joe dials in here, guys. We've got a lot of stuff to talk about. Joe just dialing in now. We'll give Joe a couple more minutes to get settled in here. Let's hit on real quick Dallas. If you're going to the Dallas game, we've got a meet and greet set up at Hop and Sting, a brewery there in Dallas, not too far from the stadium. We did this last time we played in Dallas. The owner of that brewery is a huge Cincinnati Bengals fan. We packed that place out when we were down there. They've got special made cans, orange and black striped, beer cans for us that night. Also,
that is Sunday night, not pregame. That'll be Sunday night.
That is Sunday night. I'm sorry. There is no tailgate plan for that. We couldn't get a big enough spot in Dallas for 1,500 to 2,000 people to tailgate. So we took the week off because the following week we're going to be in Nashville. Matter of fact, we'll get into that right now. So we'll have Big Burrow down in Nashville with us here in a few weeks. If you remember the tailgate down there last year, we had 1,500 to 2,000 fans down there in the heat. It was so hot, but what a great time. We are going to see a live performance by the Bengal boys at the tailgate as well. So if you don't have your tickets on that, I did put that link in the comment section. Guys, you have to have a ticket to get into that away tailgate. We have pretty big expenses going into that, renting out the lot and everything else that we paid for. So if you want to get to that tailgate in Nashville, make sure you buy those tickets up as quickly as you can because it will likely sell out like it normally does. Hit on a couple things at the tailgate this week. We have a live performance at the tailgate. Caleb Herms. James, you want to talk about him real quick? He reached out to us about this.
Yeah, Caleb was one of, I believe he's a Cubcat student. His parents reached out, was the fourth quarter entertainer last year. So he's excited, going to do about a 10-minute skit with everything from Welcome to the Jungle, some other guitar stuff. So we look forward to having him Sunday at the tailgate. You never know who we're going to see there. Maybe even Leapin' Lamar will stop by, as many of the past rulers of the jungle have. But appreciate Caleb stopping by and going to play a little bit on his electric guitar there. Should be fun.
Yeah, I didn't realize this, James, but him and his family have been coming to the tailgate for quite a while now. So didn't realize it until earlier this year that he was the one. So real quick, also, just to kind of let you know what's going on, our annual Toys for Tots drive. Tony's not feeling great today. I was going to have him on talk a little bit about this today, but we got a lot of things going on. Every tailgate, including this tailgate, we're going to have boxes set up all over the tailgate, in the park, and in the lot by the stage and the charity tent. Bring an unwrapped toy. Each of the next 3 home tailgates, we will have Toys for Tots toy drive at the tailgate. So bring a toy, drop it off in a basket, one of the boxes. We appreciate it. Also, there's a QR code on the screen right now. If you can't make it to a tailgate, if you want to order toys and send it, you can actually do that as well with that QR code Tony set up. And then we got their second or third annual now, Fill the Bus toy drive. So we're going to be stopping December 6th, Friday, at the Pro Shop from 3:30 to 5 o'clock. Go to the Pro Shop, buy some toys, bring toys down to the Pro Shop, throw them on the bus from 3:30 to 5. And then from 6 to 7:30, we will be parking the bus in front of Walmart in Eastgate to fill the bus up. So big undertaking, guys. Big goals. We're hoping we can get over that 1,200 to 1,500 toys again like last year. So all that's because you guys participate and make all this stuff happen. So it's really, really awesome event there. The other thing, too, we will be selling raffles at the tailgate. We'll have 2 different charities benefiting from the raffles. The Toys for Tots folks will be there as well. But the other charity that will be benefiting is the Steinford Toy Foundation, which I think is in Northern Kentucky. So the money raised that day will be split between those 2 foundations. So we appreciate everybody being part of that. But we'll look forward to getting back to tailgate and home game here in Cincinnati. It's been too damn long, everybody. So
it has been way too long. And I'm glad you mentioned the Amazon thing, Jimmy. So many people that partake, whether it's at away tailgates or just simply on the show every Tuesday night. There is that Amazon QR code. It was cool seeing all the pictures from Tony's porch of so many people that have donated already that don't live local. So we appreciate that. And once again, 2 great charities benefiting. And, this time of year is tough for a lot of people. So we appreciate everybody pitching in what they can for the Toys for Tots. Big game, college game on Saturday. Got some people giving their feedback there. I think
that's not going to be a good game. Michigan's going to get destroyed, dude. They're in over their head.
You're probably right. This year, I think that is the case. A lot of people question their win last week or game last weekend against Indiana, and they set up the critics pretty fast. So, congrats to the Buckeyes on their win on Saturday, and it looks like well into the 12-team playoff.
Well, Tom, we got our guest in the waiting room here, brother. If you want to do the intro, man, let's get him on. Everybody that's watching right now, get your questions ready. Pop them in Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, wherever you're watching, and we'll try to get a couple of them up here for Joe to answer for you.
Well, kicking us off, he was not a kicker, but he was one of the elite right tackles of his era in the NFL, in charge of taking care of Boomer Esiason's blind side and opening up enormous holes for James Brooks, Ickey Woods, Harold Green, et al. So one of the classiest Bengals you'd ever want to meet, and the funnest guys you'll ever want to meet. He's also a Texas Tech Red Ranger. Kicking us off, we welcome Joe Walter.
Hey, what's up, guys? First of all, it's not Red Ranger.
I was just going to say that.
Red Rangers. Come on,
I got a cold.
Oh, so when you got a cold, you throw a G in there, not a G.
But Joe was the Red Power Ranger. Is that what you're saying, Tom?
Yeah,
Raiders.
Oh, man. Hey, thanks for being with us tonight.
All over again. I mean, it was really good up until that point.
Joe, thanks for being with us, buddy. So we'll have a lot of questions for you, man. We're hoping by the end of the show tonight, when we get off this episode here, Joe, you will have all the answers for us move forward with the last 6 games of this team. All right. So just be ready. We're counting on you. We're counting on you.
Thanks.
All right, let's get it started. Tom, go ahead and kick us off, buddy.
Joe, with your experience on the line, I mean, ownership has tried to buy an offensive line. They've tried to draft an offensive line. They've tried to develop an offensive line. And Joe Burrow's still getting hit, and he's getting hit a lot. He's not getting sacked quite as much, but he's still getting hit all the time, and we're not seeing the holes for the running game. I mean, we've tried first-round draft choices. We've tried signing all pros. What do you think is missing? Is it chemistry, cohesiveness, or they're just not good enough?
No, I don't think it's any of that. I think what it is, and I thought a lot about this for the last couple of weeks because it bothers me, right? There's some technique issues, especially with Volson. Mims has some technique issues. Now, let me tell you, Mims is going to be a player. He's solid. He's a rookie. He's making rookie mistakes with his technique. I think this kid's going to be a big-time player. But I think the big thing for me, thinking about it, I'm just wondering if the scheme is right for the type of talent they got on the line, if that makes sense, right? So I'm a big Frank Pollock fan, but I'm just not sure that the running game and what we're trying to get established is right for these guys. You can't tell me that, these except for Mims, they've all played together at least 1 year with Orlando, right? Even though he's been hurt, but the 3 interior guys have been together for 3 years. And in a sense, it's a little frustrating that we can't stop anybody. Now, to give these defenses credit, they've played some hellacious defensive fronts the last several games, right? So they've had their hands full, but we're not doing anything to really, they do a terrible job at switching on stunts and loops and all that. And that's all technique, that's footwork. It's stuff that can be fixed. I'm just not sure why it's not fixed, if that makes sense. And I think a lot of it has to do with no live hitting in the preseason and training camp.
James?
Appreciate you joining us, Joe. We're going to go straight to a viewer question. We get these a lot when we have our veterans on here, especially those that had to know Mr. Brown or Sam Weiss. Robert wants you to share one of your favorite memories of Sam or Mr. Brown.
Oh, wow. Crap, there's a ton with Sam. I think probably one of the better memories for me that I thought was pretty daggum funny was no women in the locker room, if you remember that whole debacle, right? And he came out in a towel wrapped around his waist, no shirt and all that. And, it was just hilarious that it really bothered him that much because we were, women were in there at the time, but for him to make a big scene out of it was pretty damn funny, and he was just such a down to earth coach and a player's coach, but you always knew where you stood with him, right? And just a great guy. I love playing for him. PB, I don't have a lot of memories about him. Just, man, when we were on the practice field, Jim McNally, we'd be up there working, doing individual. And if Paul Brown was heading up the hill, it was red alert out loud, start working before he gets here, right? So there was no jacking around when the red alert was on. But a lot of respect for Paul Brown and Coach Brown and it's the Brown family. It was just a great era to play football, to be able to meet Coach Brown and to know the legend was kind of cool.
Yeah. So, Joe, I'm still talking playoffs, man. All right, don't laugh at me. But the 1970 Bengals started off the season 1-6, ran the table the rest of the year, won 7 consecutive games to win the first ever AFC Central Championship. We got 6 games here, and I think they're all winnable games at the end of the day. But to talk about, we got to get 6 wins to guarantee ourselves a playoff spot here, I think, at the end of the day. But talk about that, man. Is that possible? What do you think has to happen to make that work?
Well, both sides of the ball have to play, right? They've got to play 4 quarters. And that's really been our downfall. We play a great 3 quarters, and then one side of the ball kind of goes numb and they don't finish out the game. And, I'm with you, Jim. I think that we can run the table. It's going to be a tough task, but we've got the talent to do it. We just got to get it done. And I think on the defensive side of the ball, Hendrickson just needs some help. We need somebody on that left defensive end to put some pressure on the quarterback to help him out. But I think we can do it. I like this Newton kid, the cornerback. I thought he played an outstanding game against the Chargers. And, of course, we know offensively we've got the horses to make that happen. I think I remember with Boomer, we ran the no-huddle offense, and our defense was a little bit better than what they have now. But we knew every time we touched the ball, we had to put some kind of points on the board. And that was the one thing Boomer said in the huddle before we started a series. All right, boys, we got to have 3 or 7. We got to have points. We cannot go a series without scoring. And I think that's where they're at right now.
Yeah, good point. Tom?
Joe, you mentioned Boomer. What kind of leader was he in the huddle and in the locker room?
Oh, he was a tremendous leader. He everybody respected him. He told you exactly what you wanted to hear. Quick story: we're in a game. I forget who we're playing, but we weren't playing very well up front, and Boomer was getting tired of getting hit. So he kicked Anthony out of the huddle so he could cuss us. And he started laying the wood as far as the F-bomb and all that on us and get our shit together. And then he brought Anthony back in the huddle with about 10 seconds left to go. So we had to rush to get the play off. But it was an ass chewing, that's for sure. But a great dude. Love playing for him. And I'm glad that who was the one that said that I was the blindside tackle. See, I don't get credit for that. They all give that to Anthony. He gets in the Hall of Fame, and I get no credit for being the blindside tackle.
Well, with that, I don't know if you remember this name from Cincinnati, Jerry Jones, the old draft expert.
Yeah.
Okay. He always insisted, and Jerry kept every statistic imaginable of college, pro, but especially the Bengals. And he insisted up until that Washington game where unfortunately you got hurt in '88. He insisted you were having a better year than Anthony was that year. I don't know how
a good year every year that Anthony did. As long as Boomer was there, his guys could see. Boomer could see his guy. He couldn't see mine. I just don't get the credit.
James?
Going back, you mentioned getting help on Trey on the defensive side, but wearing your offensive cap, looking at your defense, looking at our defense from up above, what else do you think we can do here down the final stretch to tighten things up? And, as you said, first of all, play 4 quarters, but not have those lapses and knowing we're a little banged up there, what can we do to help that offense here? As for the final
we got to tackle. I think we've got to tackle much better. We do a good job for 3 quarters, and then all of a sudden we fall apart in the 4th quarter. And I think really the guys are there. And we've got the players. I just think it's all technique, and I'm that old school guy, so I think that the 3 weeks of training camp and shorts isn't doing them any good, any justice. And when you go 6 weeks in training camp and you play in 4 preseason games and you're actually hitting and playing, you're much better off. And I think that we're so far behind the 8 ball by the time the season starts, because you think about it, it takes us 4 to 5 weeks before we even get going, and it takes us 6 weeks before we can start tackling. And so I think that hurts us. You look at the clubs that are winning and doing well, Detroit, Pittsburgh, Buffalo, they all hit during training camp, and we're one of the few clubs that don't. And I think that hurts us.
Yep.
But that's an old school mentality.
Yep. So Joe, it's, I can pop up a couple things, Brian and some other folks, a lot of people talking about Evan McPherson. So like you said, we haven't even put 4 quarters together. It's the defense, it's the offense, it's special teams. Evan McPherson's had a hell of a run here in Cincinnati, man. When it really wasn't for him, we don't get to the Super Bowl 2021 season, right? But this year, he really legitimately could have won 2 or 3 games for us if he made a damn field goal, right? So he's having an off year, man. What do you contribute that to? I mean, he's got a new holder, but I mean, kickers go through this stuff. We've all seen this. But talk about Evan McPherson right now, the challenges that he's having.
Heck, you're asking an offensive lineman that don't like kickers. They got one damn job to do, and if you don't do it, then what the hell good are you, right? But I didn't hear his press conference, but I heard some folks talking about it that he's missing a lot left, and I guess that's unusual for a right-footed kicker. I don't know, but those kickers are soft, man, and if once it gets in their head, they can't seem to fight their way out of it. But he's going to be okay. I think it is the holder. I think the holder's kind of screwed him up, and I think Baltimore where the holder fumbled the snap. I think that plays in his head now all the time. He's just kind of concerned, is the ball going to get there on time?
Yeah, I've heard you talk about kickers before. You nailed that. I knew you'd go down that road with the kickers.
Oh, God, I can't stand kickers. They got one damn job. Don't screw it up. We work our ass off to get down the field to get you some points, and you don't do it. Come on. Time to go find another one.
James, you want to go to
But I don't say that about James Breach, though. Jimmy Breach, I don't touch Jimmy.
Yeah.
I do. We do have another great viewer question. Paul tunes in every week. We appreciate him watching. This is probably the one of the more famous Sam White's things when he got on the microphone and proceeded to talk to everybody at Riverfront and remind them they don't live in Cleveland. Shape up. What do you remember about that game, that part of the game, and what Sam had to say?
Well, I can't remember what happened in the game. That's a concussion moment for me. But you don't live in Cleveland, you're in Cincinnati. That was because they were throwing snowballs down and ice balls down on the field. They do that. They did that in Cleveland, the old municipal dog pound. You were always getting pelted. And I think that's basically where it came from. Folks started throwing snow and ice down on the field, and he was trying to get it cleaned up. I thought it was great. I thought it was awesome. Heck, they still play it today.
Yeah, T-shirts made, everything. Yes.
Yeah, you guys sure are serious on this podcast. I thought it would be much more fun than this, but you guys are like really nailing it. I mean, I'm nervous right now.
Shit.
Why are we so serious on this damn show?
And everybody's watching right now, so you can say Joe is full of you know what. Let me tell you.
Usually, Joe, I ask a question. I think the last 3 guests we've had, a lot of former players, usually get their blood boiling. Tom can attribute. They're about level 10 on a 5-point scale and go off on a tangent. So let me see if I can get you worked up over something here.
Okay, here we go.
Just talk about kickers again. It happens.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Let's get Jim Breach on to have those two go back and forth. Come on.
Heck yeah, that'd be fun.
Jim's probably watching.
Yeah, he might be.
It wouldn't surprise me. But Joe, getting back to our current guys, and you mentioned that you do admire Frank Pollock and so forth. if you were in there for a day with those guys getting ready for the Steelers, what would you tell them?
That's a great question. I think they've got to believe in the technique and what they've been taught, right? Sometimes as linemen, if you're struggling, you forget and you don't want to believe in what got you there. And you've got to get to the point where you believe in what you know about football, how to play football, and the technique they're teaching, right? And because that's the one thing that gets you there, that technique. I can always remember Jimmy, go back to the technique. If you're struggling, think about the technique. It's always in the technique. And that's where it is with these guys. It's there with Volson. He's a leaner. God love him. I think he could be a really good player, but he's a leaner, right? That's what gets him in trouble. Mims, he's a rookie. He's going to make those technique mistakes because he's still learning the pro way to play, right? Orlando is very solid. Some of his, when he gets in trouble, is all technique. Same with Karras and Kappa. It's all technique. It's not that they're not good players. Their technique goes south on them one time. And it happens to everybody. It happened to me. It happened to Anthony. You just got to forget about that last play and get back to the technique.
From a player's perspective, Joe, I'm going to piggyback on John's question here about Zach's press conference needed more intensity. You mentioned Sam Weish being a player's coach. I think Zach has that same feedback. Definitely a player's coach. At what time or what point does that not resonate with the locker room and you need a different voice chirping at you?
I think it's the players, right? The head coach has got his job, but you've got to have leaders in the locker room. And, 9 times out of 10, 10 times out of 10, you've got your leaders that can go talk to the head coach. Boomer was that guy. I was that guy later in my career. And if you've got a good rapport with the head coach, you're going to keep the locker room. And I think that, with Zach, they're still playing hard for him. It's not like they've quit on him, right? So they believe in the guy. They're just struggling. They had the injury woes early on. They didn't have the ping pong table early on. Maybe that'll help. I'm not sure why it's not a pool table or darts or something else, why it's got to be ping pong.
Joe, did you say jarts?
Jarts, yes, jarts. Yeah.
Most people don't understand what that is, but Joe and I do.
Yeah, jarts or horseshoes.
Exactly. Joe, let's talk about the Hall of Fame a little bit, bud. So Kenny Anderson and Willie Anderson keep progressing every year, kind of moving up in the process here. We know they're both going to get in. Kenny's in the senior committee right now. I think we'll know sometime in December if he makes that senior vote. And Willie Anderson is progressing down that road. I know Willie absolutely loves you to death, brother. I remember at Jungle Jam and we talked to Willie a lot, man. I don't know why, but he absolutely loves you, dude. He respects the hell out of you.
I don't know why either.
I know.
Dude, I love Willie.
But talk about Kenny and Willie, and more specifically Willie, because Willie just talks very highly of you. You really took him under your wings when he came into the league. So talk about those two, if you could, in a little bit more detail on Willie for us.
Well, Kenny, it's just a travesty that he's not in, right? That's just the numbers that he's got. His numbers are better than Fouts, and it's just because he doesn't have a Super Bowl win. And he's got what? Does he have an MVP? Maybe 2 MVPs?
MVP.
And for him not to be in is just a travesty. And it's just because there's no Super Bowl under his belt. I truly believe that. And I think it helps now that Anthony works for the Hall of Fame, so I know he's chirping really hard for Kenny. But as far as Willie goes, just an exceptional player. I'm really hoping he gets in this year. He deserves it. Great dude. I took him under my wing. His rookie year, he struggled in a game. It was Monday after the game. He's out in his car. His dauber's really down. And I went out and talked to him, gave him a little bit of advice, and just told him he's got to forget about it, move on to the next one. You can't keep living. You got to let it go, or you'll never make it in this league, right? You got to have a quick forgetting memory. I think I jumped off sides 100 times, but I can't tell you that I did for sure. But, as I told him, and I worked with him hard during meetings, he would sit next to me. I showed him how to take notes, and it drove him crazy because I take the same notes every game plan, same notes were down for each play. And he said, why do you do it for the basic plays? Because you got to have quick recall, right? You never know what's going to happen. And, we talked a lot. He was a sponge. He would listen to me. I would help coach him on the sidelines when he was in there playing. I would specifically watch him and help him and let him know what he was doing or what the defensive end was doing to him when he would come off. He took it all in, which was great, and he turned out to be a really, really good player. He was really good then. When I first saw him, I thought, man, somebody with those big of feet, there's no way he can move, but he could move. Good player.
Along those lines, staying on the Andersons, Paul has a question about the time you gave Willie a hard time on his outfit. Can you elaborate on that?
Willie wore some just terrible outfits. I don't know who the hell dressed him. But, being from Texas, it was jeans, boots, and a button-down shirt, right? That's all. That was my outfit. And so when he would come in with these suits, they were god-awful. Not sure why he would waste his money on that crap, but he did, and he thought he looked good. And I said, that's why you're from Auburn and not from Texas, because you wouldn't be able to wear that crap down there.
Willie tells that story. He loves that story too, dude. That's funny stuff.
Tom?
You helped them grow up. So going forward, the end of this year, do you see, what is best for the situation the Bengals in? Is it youth? Is it an experienced lineman? Someone that can pick up the system quickly with some experience? Do we need a mauler, a pass protector? Because nothing we do to the defense matters if Joe Burrow keeps getting hit.
That's a great question. And I the problem is you don't have time for youth unless they're just a mauler coming out of college, right? Unless they're another Mims type, you might be able to. But you can't continue to build with free agents because you're not going to really get, and I'm not putting Karras and Kappa down, so don't take it the wrong way, but you're not getting that high-level elite offensive lineman without paying him big bucks in free agency, right? And, right now we got cap issues, so I don't know how they're going to do that. So you're still going to get those middle-of-the-road guys. And I don't know if you can keep building on that, right? So I think we've got to do a better job scouting and finding those. I'm kind of double doing what I just said. You got to have youth. You got to continue to build from within, but you got to be able to find those guys that have that heart and desire that want to play, right? And that are sponges and want to learn. And it seems like, we've kind of been off, Carmen Jackson, prime example, right? Some other guys that aren't coming to mind. But Volson, I think he's got it in him. I just don't know why the technique goes. And once the technique goes with him, it's gone. He can't get it back. He played pretty well in the beginning of the season, but here lately he's been off. He's very top heavy. And the teams see it, defenses see it, and they're going to run the stunts and loops and blitzes, and they know he struggles with them. And I don't know if the game is still really fast to him. And if it is, then, oh, gosh, that's scary because he's 3 years in the league. It should have slowed down by now. But a lot of it's technique. And it's a great question. We talked about it today at lunch. I'm not sure how you fill the void because you've got so many voids you have to fill on both sides of the ball. So how do you do it?
Yeah.
And your timetable.
The concern there is his ultimate kryptonite has been Hayward of the Steelers, and he's got him twice this last month.
Yeah. I'm sure he's not sleeping much this week.
Well, Joe, that kind of ties into our last question of the evening. We appreciate you being with us tonight. We got a lot of folks in the chat area, watching and listening right now. But talk about, what was the one team, man, that you just loved playing against? It was a two chin strap game. Was it, what one team like really you got up for the most when you guys went and played them?
God, it was probably, there was the team I got up most for was the Steelers. I hated the Steelers. I hate black and gold. Still do. It was, I got kicked out of a game for fighting Edmund Nelson in Pittsburgh. It was just one of those games that I just hated. I hated them, hated everything about them. Funny story, Kevin Green and I, we battled and battled and battled. And we're both retired. Marvin Lewis has his golf outing. I go to the golf outing. If I've told you guys this story, I apologize. But Kevin's there, and I'm at the registration desk, and he looks at me and he goes, "Hey, are you Joe Walter?" And I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "Man, I love playing against you." He goes, "You were always, it was mano a mano. You didn't hold, you didn't cheat. It was just who was going to beat who." And he goes, "I really I've always wanted to meet you." I said, "Get the F away from me. I don't like you. And have a good day." And I walked off, never talked to the dude. And he was being nice and trying to break bread, and I didn't want anything to do with him because he was black and gold. In my mind, he was black and gold.
It was a Steeler. He was faking it.
Yeah.
That's all it was.
Joe, I've heard a lot of stories. I don't know if I've heard that one from you. That's a good one, brother.
Yeah.
Well, Joe, we appreciate you being with us tonight, bud. It means a lot. It's been a tough year, brother. I know you've had ups and downs as a player as well, and everybody goes through this. Everybody goes through it. So I'm hoping our guys can close out this season with a 6 wins here. But we got to start this week. We got to get an AFC North victory here. Brother,
really, this is a team we can beat. I'm telling you, this is a team we can beat. We just got to get Burrow moving around out of the pocket and keep Watt out of the way. And what's the other kid's name? The other defensive end. Not Hightower.
Murphy?
No, for Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh.
Keep those two guys at bay. I think we got to be good. But the way Burrow and all them, and he's moving around the pocket, is going to be tough for them too. So I'm excited. I think we've got these 6 games. I think we can do it. But we got to start Sunday.
Yep. Well, brother, if you're not doing anything pregame, brother, come on down. We got a cold one waiting for you, bud.
We'll do it.
All right, man. Thanks, Joe.
Thank you. Have a happy Thanksgiving.
You too.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving, buddy. He doesn't pull any punches. You got to love him, man. You got to love Joe.
Class act. We're on a streak of 3 veterans that don't pull any punches.
Him talking about kickers. I've heard him talk about kickers so many times. It's comical, man.
The one thing I think reading between the lines there's some coaching issues, whether it's coaching players up or maintaining form. So we'll see. We've talked about that with past guests the last couple of weeks, and hopefully we can turn it around. But I think, as everybody knows, I'm not a huge Frank Pollock fan, and at the end of the day, protecting Joe is our number one priority, and it's not happening. In addition, with the run game and what's happening, so we'll see. But that was my kind of recap there, and we'll definitely have to clip the Willie Anderson piece and addresses for social media. But reading between the lines, Frank Pollock needs gone.
Yeah, it is funny you talk about that, James. He talked about how he loves Frank Pollock. Then he went on to say a lot about technique that's coachable. Yeah, I'm with you. I think we all saw the same thing there.
Yeah. Tom?
Well, he's definitely better than Jim Turner. But yeah. I mean, I think if things stay the way they are, if we don't have the December that we need, you have to look at every portion of this team and every portion of the franchise. What can we do better? And, one thing is we're letting guys go in free agency. We don't have anybody to replace them. Yeah. The guys we're hoping to replace them are completely whiffing. Nothing. I mean,
Tom, talk about that. So The only free agency I was excited before the season started. All these free agent names, I thought, okay, these are solid pickups. Mike Gesicki's been the only damn free agent that we picked up that has contributed. I think, if I'm not mistaken, but the rest of them have been total whiffs.
Well, you lose DJ, and you replace him with Sheldon Rankins, who had one good game last year against us. He destroyed us playing for Houston, but he's a speed guy, and we needed somebody that can take him two gaps. We needed somebody that can push the pocket. We needed somebody that can make our defensive ends better the way DJ did. And, that has not happened. We have just struggled when we let somebody go, replacing them. We're all worried about what's going to happen with T. If T walks, do we have somebody here? I mean, Jerome Burton we've seen a couple of flashes, but not what we really expected from a third-round pick with who a lot of people said had first-round talent. Yoshi has, and these are guys we all love, but I think Yoshi's regressed a little bit. He's not getting the separation he once did. I don't know why it is, but I know when we're counting on guys and bringing in guys, they're not doing it. They're not getting it done.
That's a good point. I never thought about that, but yeah, Mike Gesicki would certainly be the number one contributor out of that free agent class. Chris apparently missed the beginning of the show. Jamie, we decided as a board we weren't going to pay the Canadian tariff to have him on, so he's not on. Chris, short.
Does that apply for the cyber world too?
Yeah. We're taxing everything, tariffing everything. Is that a word? Tariffing? We're tariffing everything.
It is now.
The free agents have been misses. That's part of the equation. I feel like it's death by 1,000 cuts for us. Joe alluded to, taking a quarter off, missing a quarter, free agent misses, draft misses, coaching, players regressing. I think you could have a list of 10 things that are all compiled to make the season what it is. And, big game Sunday, and hopefully we turn it around. Hopefully the stupid, terrible towels. Who was it? Was it a team that gave away towels? Was it Washington that gave away towels at when Pittsburgh was in there 3 or 4 weeks ago?
We've done it before.
Yeah.
We've done it before.
Yes.
I don't know if it's going to happen Sunday, but we've definitely done it before.
Lisa, we make up words on the show. Tariffing is now a word.
She's like our spell checker. She just.
Oops, not. Where is it, John? 27 points. I agree, John. 27 points for the word tariffing.
Not bad.
We got. I think is Van Mark in the room there as well? I thought I saw him somewhere. Yeah, there he is. I see him.
He's there's his.
That dude, him and his wife Sandy drove all the way from Cincinnati, all the way to Los Angeles for the game. Drove all the way back. That dude is a beast. And if you haven't met Mark at the tailgate, make sure you hunt him down. He's the one who has the new van. With the leaping tiger on the side. He's got Tony the Tiger on the back of his van. Make sure you hunt him down. He works his ass off for the tailgate. He's been a great addition to the team this year, James.
We love Mark and Sandy, and he was a great Uber after the game. But Tom, I don't know if you're aware of this. He's like, we're going to tailgate at SoFi. Okay, great. They drive to SoFi. Do you think they bring any beers to SoFi? Not a single one. James has to walk to the Sam's Club, Costco, whatever, across the street, sweltering heat, and have to walk to the tailgate with adult beverages because Jimmy just didn't think we needed any.
There was beer there. We didn't have to bring it. James went out and bought a whole case of 8-ounce peach seltzers.
Yes.
Because they didn't have Miller Lite.
I was not going to buy anything if it wasn't Miller Lite. So yes, I did have seltzers, but they weren't peach. They were diverse in their flavors.
Should have taken a picture of that, man. I never thought I'd see James with a case of seltzers walking up to a tailgate.
Oh, and U-turns, yes. I missed a lot of this, but Mark.
Oh yeah, Mark set a away game record with I think 32 U-turns in the middle of Los Angeles. He's doing U-turns in the middle of Compton. It was
straight out of Compton.
It was seatbelts, white knuckles. He was U-turning everywhere. I mean, he set records for sure. So, but great dude. Make sure you reach out, say hi to him this Sunday. But let's go ahead and close this thing out, man. We got to get this dub this weekend. Tom, go ahead and get it started, buddy.
Well, we're beyond must-win situation. There's just no room for any more screw-ups. Cleveland did it. There's no reason if the Bengals play their best game and protect Joe Burrow that they can't get it done Sunday. So, and again, thank you to everybody for tuning in tonight. You can go a lot of different places to get your Bengal opinions and your Bengals news. So it's a true honor that you want to spend some time with us on a cold Tuesday evening. Happy and safe Thanksgiving, and let's make the jungle roar on Sunday. James?
Jordan put in this chat, and I don't know, Jordan, let's see, coming to Cincinnati for the first time in 22 years.
Oh.
Would be ideal, yes. So be sure to stop by. And are you going to grace us with your presence Sunday, Tom, or should we just disappoint Jordan now and tell him or her that you're not going to be there?
It's Tuesday night, and as soon as we sign off, my next concern is calling the Great White North and checking on somebody up there. I'm not to Sunday yet.
Okay. All
Here's
right.
a question. I know you won't show it. Lori from Circle City, will James be shaving off that damn mustache before Sunday's game?
No, the answer is no. It'll be there Sunday, and my little session here. Everybody have a happy Thanksgiving. You're getting me all sidetracked. John, Chris, look at everybody's excited for Turkey Day on Thursday. I don't think there's many games. Well, one game that will affect us that definitely worth the watch is Miami at Green Bay. Miami's playing some good ball. Actually, passed us here in the last week with their 5th win, I believe. So they're another team in front of us in the playoff rankings. But everybody enjoy Thursday and dress warm on Sunday. If you're coming down, bring your toys for tots. And I believe there's also a sock drive the Bengals are doing. It was on the press release. But definitely be sure to stop by and say hi and have a happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, look forward to seeing everybody Sunday. It's been too long. It's been a long drought here without having a home tailgate or game, right? So don't forget, again, I know we're being repetitive here. Don't forget the toys if you can. We were a little bit behind just not being at home, but we think the last 3 games will be able to make up that gap. Bring a toy, unwrapped toy this week to the tailgate. Another date to throw out to you guys. You're going to see some more stuff. I was on the first call today, February 16th, Rockin' with Ken Anderson Alliance. If you've never been to that event out at Lori's Roadhouse, mark your calendar, February 16th. Some bigger and better things going on this year at Rockin' with KAA this year. So appreciate you guys from Bengal Jam and Friends family. Happy Thanksgiving to you and your family. We love you guys. Hoo day, everybody.